Hello everybody, and a very, very warm welcome to Filbert Flies. Those of you who are watching live will be well aware that I've had a little bit of an issue starting this stream off, but we seem to be up and running now. So today we are flying Spirit Airlines flight NK929 from Chicago O'Hare down to Orlando. We're going to be using Flight Crew A320, we're going to be using Pushback Express, we're going to be using Pilot to ATC. So there's a lot to go right if it all works beautifully. There's also a lot to go wrong. So without further ado, let's get into the sim. We're parked up here at gate L7 at Chicago O'Hare. I've got my FS2 crew pre-flight events running. Scheduled time of departure is 7:20 local or 12:20 Zulu. And we'll get into the cockpit and have a look at what's going on. So we've got about 10 minutes to go before departure. I tell you now, we're going to be taking off ever so slightly late. Hello Mossy, welcome, welcome, welcome. Sorry I didn't see you there for a minute, but it's nice to have you in the stream. Is the chat coming up? Yes it is, good, good, good. Right, so as I was saying, Flight Crew A320 pre-flight events are running. We've got our ADIRs aligned. We are going to turn on the flight director. I've set the QNH. And I think we'll have a listen to the ATIS.
Chicago O'Hare International Information X-ray, 1351 Zulu, winds are 253 at 6 knots. Visibility 10 miles. 1300 overcast. Temperature 12. Dew point 10. Current altimeter is 2976. Arriving and departing runway 27 right, 28 left, 27 left, 28 center, 28 right. Chicago
Good,
O'Hare
so it seems that the weather in sim isn't so far away from the real world weather which I've based the flight plan on. So I believe we're expecting a 28 right departure. But we will get our clearance and have a look. Clearance delivery, Spirit Wings 929, ready to copy IFR clearance. It didn't like that, did it? Didn't like that. Right, what did I do wrong? Spirit Wings 929, ready to copy IFR clearance.
Spirit Wings 929 is cleared to Kilo Mike Charlie Oscar as filed. Expect departure runway 28 right. Climb and maintain 5,000 feet. Expect higher clearances 2 minutes after departure. Departure on 125.0 squawk 4622. Spirit Wings 929 is cleared to Kilo Mike Charlie Oscar as filed. Climb and maintain 5,000 feet. Expect higher clearances 2 minutes after departure. Departure on 125.0 squawk 4622. Spirit Wings 929 read back correct. Altimeter 2976, contact ground on 118.05 when ready for pushback. Enjoy your morning. Altimeter 2976, ground on 118.05 Spirit Wings 929.
Right, so the only discrepancy is our is the in-sim pressure is very, very slightly different to the real world one. So we will keep the in-sim pressure to ensure our altitude is accurate. And what have I forgotten? I've forgotten my Track IR hat. If you just bear with me a second, I will go and put that on. And then I'll be able to look around while I'm taxiing, which is very helpful.
Hi guys, here's the load sheet for you.
Thanks.
No problem, have a safe flight.
What did I just miss? What was said here? Is it cleared to close the door or something? Okay. Right, good. So this is, of course, FS2 Crew Pushback Express, which is providing the cabin announcements.
If you are unable to accommodate any item in the cabin, please bring it to the boarding door and we will check it for you. Also review the safety instruction card in your seat pocket. If you are seated at an exit seat, also review the exit seating criteria.
So I'm trying a new way of limiting my frame rates to 30 in today's stream, and I'm broadcasting at 30 frames per second as well. So I'm hoping that that will result in a smoother output, because some of my videos look considerably more stuttery than what I'm seeing in the sim. So we'll see if that works. And we will get back on board and we will start setting up the MCDU. Right, let me just double check my flight plan. It's all been a bit of a rush. I didn't get back home quite as early as I thought I would, but I'm sure it'll all be fine. Okay, so we're going to use 20 for our cost index. We're cruising at flight level 350 today. We've got our zero fuel weight set to 60.1, which is correct, and our centre of gravity 26.5, which is correct, as is our block fuel, so that's good. I've been really well, Mossy. Yeah, I cycled down to Regent's Park today, had a picnic lunch with a friend, and it was really warm and very pleasant. How about yourself? What are we doing down here? Perf, so we're going to be doing a flaps 1 takeoff. And we're going to be using a flex takeoff temperature today of 59. Transition altitude is going to be 18,000 feet. Hi Craig, the bar at the top of my screen is nothing to do with Sim Toolkit. I don't use it. This is called Fly Live Studio, which is specifically designed for streaming. It's what all the top streamers use: Drawyer, Squirrel, Captain Canada, I think. So I'm trying to up my game with my streams, and it was actually Drawyer who put me onto this. So thanks to him for that. We're going to accelerate at 3,000 feet, I think. There we are. That's better. Hello, Harry. How are you? Right. Oh, we must be nearly ready for pushback. Yeah, about 8 minutes. And as I say, we're going to be departing slightly behind schedule from Chicago here. Right, track IR, there we are. In fact, I could probably... Yep, that's working. I could probably fast forward the pre-flight events a little bit, I think.
Hey guys, are we clear to close?
Yes.
Thanks. Let me know if you need anything.
Yeah, I'm really well, thanks, Harry. I've had a nice morning slash lunch in the sun, which I wasn't sure was going to be possible when I arranged it. So yeah, the weather has pleasantly surprised me today. Right, what haven't we done? We have not started the APU. So we'll turn that on. We'll wait for the flap open. I'm not using the very latest version of what's it called, of the A320 NX mod. I'm using whatever the master version was that fixed the engine 1 cutting out issue. I will update at some point, but I've heard that there were a couple of issues that it introduced, and because I knew I was streaming today, I thought best to use an aircraft that I know works. Yes, I do use SimBrief, Harry. Yeah, there's a video on my channel which gives a quick introduction on how to use SimBrief with Microsoft Flight Simulator, if you want to have a look. Although of course if you're already using SimBrief, you probably won't need to. Well, thank you, El Diablito. That's nice of you to say. I do have a lot of time for Drawyer. I think it's down to personal preference. I don't think there's anything at all wrong with the way he streams. So you can hear the sound of the APU starting up, and the jetway's been disconnected by Flight Crew A320. Right, we should probably run the before start checklist.
Before start checklist.
Cockpit prep.
Completed.
Completed. Gear pins and covers.
Removed.
Signs.
On and auto.
Adheres.
Let me just double check they are on an auto. Yes, they are.
Nav.
Fuel quantity.
And we'll turn the fuel pumps on.
Set.
Takeoff data.
Set.
Barrel ref.
1007. Set.
1007. Set. Down to the line.
Ah, yes, he's set to use hectopascals rather than inches of mercury. I'll just change him over. Right, so we've done our before start checklist down to the line. Yeah, maybe that's right, El Diablito. I think he's very good at showing off what the simulator offers and flying around the world. And that's maybe I do a little bit more explaining as I go along. I'm not sure. But anyway, I probably wouldn't have bothered starting streaming if it wasn't for him, so I won't hear anything said against him. You have Fly Live now, right? No, I don't think it will, Craig. I don't think the bar will show up if you're not streaming. It certainly doesn't show up in my sim, it only shows up in my streaming software. There might be a way of just getting it to show at the top of your screen, but I doubt it, to be honest with you. So we've put the APU bleed on. Our doors are closed, so we can run the before start checklist below the line.
Below the line.
Windows and doors.
Closed.
Closed. Beacon.
On.
Are you sure about that? Thrust levers.
Yes, I am sure about that, thank you. Thrust levers are idle.
Idle.
Parking brake.
On.
Before start checklist complete.
Good. I still feel that I'm running a little bit behind somehow because it's such a mad rush to get started, but I think we're good to go. Beacon's on, so we will request pushback. And I believe, I can never remember what left or right means in Pushback Express. Does it mean nose left? Does it mean tail left? I think it means tail left. I'm not sure. Well, we can always slew around and if we get pushed back the wrong way. Okay, we'll make an announcement to arm the slides.
Cabin crew, arm slides and cross-check.
And we'll get ready for our pushback.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We are ready for pushback and engine start.
Roger. Release the parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes released.
Pushing back.
I'm using Pilot to ATC's. I'm using two programs from Pilot to ATC. First is called Flight Crew A320, and it's more than just voices. It's a proper first officer that interacts with your aircraft and checks what you're doing and generally helps you out at all stages of the flight. And what you just heard there was the other FS2 crew program, which is Pushback Express, which is a pushback add-on, which allows you to set the distance and which direction you want the tail to move, or well, we'll see. Either which direction you want to be pushed back, and then it'll just do it for you. So it's a definite improvement on the default.
You are clear behind, and you can start your engines at your discretion.
So engine mode selector to start.
Starting engine 1.
Aha! It is, for future reference, if you're using Pushback Express, you need to choose the direction you want the nose to point in, not the tail. I thought the same as you, El Diablito. I think it's the opposite of the default pushback, which is a shame. Also, because you have to estimate the distance, sometimes you get it wrong. One day there'll be a pushback add-on like we had in previous sims, which knows exactly where the taxiway centerline is and pushes you back onto it.
Pushback complete. Set parking brakes, please.
Parking brake set.
Roger. Okay, the tow bar is disconnected and the equipment is clear. We will see you on the left side with the pin.
Yeah,
Thanks, and
the
you can disconnect and go to hand signals.
weather's
Thanks.
not the best
Have a
here
good
in
flight.
Chicago.
See you later.
It's not the best in Orlando either, so it should be an interesting flight. No worries, El Diablito. I will see you again on another stream, I hope, and enjoy the replay later.
Starting engine 2.
Yeah, I can't wait for the 737 either, Harry. I don't know if you saw the latest news, but they're thinking it's most likely going to be towards the end of next year rather than any sooner, which is a shame.
Please direct your attention to the cabin crew for important safety information. There is an instruction card in your seat pocket that illustrates the safety equipment on this aircraft.
But the way this A320 is going, I think it's going to get better and better, and I'm quite happy with it as it is. So I can wait. I'd rather not wait, but yeah, as long as they keep improving the Airbus, I'm set for short haul for now.
To release your seatbelt, lift the metal flap on the buckle. It is our
So we're just waiting for engine 2 to start up now. Should be, of course, monitoring these instruments very closely rather than looking around and chatting, but yeah.
Each door is equipped with an escape slide. Locate the exit nearest you. The nearest exit may be behind you. In an emergency, lights will illuminate the aisle. The cabin is pressurized. If there is a loss of cabin pressure, a panel will open and oxygen masks will appear. Remain seated with your seatbelt
Okay, so
fastened
both
to a
engines are
mask
now
before you
stable,
start
so
to
we'll turn
move
the
on.
engine mode selector back to
Oxygen will be
normal.
flowing to the mask even though the bag may not inflate. Cover your nose and mouth
I will
with the
turn off
mask,
the
place
APU bleed and
elastic
turn off
bands
the
around your
APU.
head and tighten by pulling on the end. Secure your own mask before assisting others.
I got the QNH info for Chicago from the ATC, so I'm using Pilot to ATC today, and they provided it. Generally, I'll just Google KORD METAR and get it that way, but I didn't do that today. Hello, Sergio. Welcome to the stream. Oh, blimey, right. Good. I find that slightly concerning, if I'm really honest. That real-world airline pilots are using my channel for instruction, but I'm glad you're enjoying them. I'm glad you're enjoying them. This is something you can't do in real life, of course. I'm going to enter slew mode and turn the aircraft around because I set the wrong pushback direction. One of many reasons why simming is better than real-world flying. How are your ATPL studies going? It must be pretty intense, I imagine. Okay, I believe we're ready to. We'll do the after start checklist and then we'll call for our taxi clearance.
After start checklist.
Anti-ice.
So that's an example of the first officer interacting with the aircraft. He sets the flaps for takeoff.
Set.
ECAM status.
Checked.
Pitch trim.
Pitch trim was going to be 26.52. You just move over and make sure that's set. 25. Yeah, it's about right, isn't it?
26%.
Good morning,
set.
Marco.
Rudder trim.
Welcome. Welcome to the stream.
0.
After start checklist complete.
To use slew mode, I've got the Y key assigned to it. You might have to assign your own key in the settings. I can't remember if it's assigned by default. And then you have to assign keys or joystick axis. So what you saw there, I had assigned the Z axis of the joystick to basically rotate the aircraft around in slew mode. Right, we'll do our flight control check.
Flight control check.
Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral.
Rudder.
Full left. Full right. Neutral.
And now he'll do his flight control check silently. Turn the taxi light on. So the other news is I've managed to fix my joystick, which got worse and worse and worse in terms of the Z-axis. And I took it apart the other day. Nearly drove me to distraction, but fiddled around with some wires, followed some YouTube videos, and now it's not behaving erratically when I want to use the rudder pedals, so that's really good news. It was so bad I thought I was going to have to cancel all streaming until I get a new one, and as you know, they're like hen's teeth at the moment. Right.
Clear left side.
Clear right side.
I'll call up ground now and ask for our taxi clearance. I've forgotten our call sign. Oh yeah, Spirit Wings 929. Ground, Spirit Wings 929, ready for taxi. No, that's not what... No, didn't like that. Let me just check my cheat sheet. This is the trouble with using new software on a stream. Oh, it wants a runway name, does it? Spirit Wings 929, ready to taxi runway 28 right. Ground, Spirit Wings 929, ready to taxi to runway 28 right.
Spirit Wings 929, taxi to runway 28 right via taxiways Alpha 19, Bravo, Delta 1, Delta, Mike 7. Hold short runway 27 left.
Taxi to runway 28 right via taxiways Alpha 19, Bravo, Delta 1, Delta, Mike 7, hold short runway 27 left Spirit Wings 929.
Okay, so we've got our taxi clearance now. Sorry, I've missed a message there, haven't I? Thank you, Margaret. Harry, what payware mods am I using? I'm using the... excuse me, frog in my throat. I'm using Flight Crew A320, Pushback Express, and Pilot to ATC. That's it for now. Oh, and the airports as well. I've got FSDreamTeam's Chicago O'Hare scenery. Right, auto brake to max. And we need to, when we're close to the runway, we will check that the cabin is secure. Right, let's get going. And also, I'm using Navigraph charts and the Navigraph beta nav data for the sim, which is currently, well, I guess it's not really payware, but I subscribe to them anyway, so I am technically paying for it even though it's a beta. Just get my bearings a second with my map. This is Alpha 19. We want to turn right. Okay, yeah. I know what I'm doing, sort of. Oh, I'm glad you're managing all right, Sergio. So are you doing your ATPL as the last part of your training, or is it how you're starting off? I know different schools do it in a different order.
Brake check.
Pressure 0.
Before takeoff checklist.
Flight controls.
Checked.
Checked. Flight instruments.
Checked.
Checked. Briefing.
Confirmed.
Flap setting.
Config 1 plus F.
Config 1 plus F. V1, VR, V2, flex temp.
V1, 1, 2, 9, VR, 1, 3, 4, V2, 1, 3, 7.
V1, 1, 2, 9, VR, 1, 3, 4, V2, 1, 3, 7. ATC.
Set.
ECAM memo.
So before we answer the ECAM memo part of the checklist, we need to pop up here and ding one of the cabin call bells. Then we need to set the auto brake to max. Test out takeoff config by pressing this button here. And now we've got the ECAM memo showing takeoff with no blue.
Takeoff, no blue.
Down to the line.
And we continue the checklist below the line once we're given clearance to line up. Look at this airport. Beautiful scenery. So I haven't actually flown the A320 or anything else really, other than the odd approach, for over a week now, and it's showing. It's showing. I don't feel half as confident as I usually do.
Spirit Wings 929 contact tower on 119.62. Have a great flight.
Tower on 119.62 Spirit Wings 929er.
Right, so this is Yankee. Where were we told to go? Mike 7. I have to say, sometimes the instructions don't bear a huge amount of similarity to the airport layout. Yankee's fine. Yankee is going to take us basically to the threshold of 28 right, which I could have seen if I'd just turned my head to the right, to be honest. But it's good to have your charts as a backup. And the co-pilot in Pilot 280C has kindly changed us over to the tower frequency so we can let them know we're ready. Tower, Spirit Wings 929, ready for departure, runway 28 right. Spirit Wings 929, ready for departure, runway 28 right. Turn on our radar and our predictive wind shear warning system while I work out why Tower doesn't want to talk to me. Again, I'm going back to my cheat sheet. Very good manual that comes with Pilot 280C. Yeah, ready for departure, 28 right. Okay. Maybe that's all we say. Yeah, no, we do say our call sign. I don't know. Spirit Wings 929, ready for departure, 28 right. Spirit Wings 929, ready for departure, runway 28 right. No, they don't want to talk to me. What am I doing wrong? Spirit Wings 929er, ready for departure, runway 28 right. .625, that's what we've got tuned in. Tower, Spirit Wings 929, ready for departure, runway 28 right. Hello? Okay, I'll try once more. And then we'll just take off without clearance. Let me see if there's another way of phrasing it. Honestly, I've seen other people use Pilot 280C. Don't be put off by this. It is a good add-on. Spirit Wings 929er, ready for departure, runway 28 right. Okay, I'm going to try disconnecting it from the sim and reconnecting. Maybe that'll fix it.
Chicago O'Hare International Information Yankee, 1451 Zulu, winds are 243 at 8 knots. Visibility 10 miles.
And I will retune the tower frequency.
Temperature 12, dew point 9. Current altimeter is 2977. Arriving and departing runway 27 right, 28 left, 27 left, 28 center, 28 right.
2, wasn't it? 119.62.
Chicago O'Hare International Information Yankee, 1451 Zulu, winds are 243 at 8 knots. Visibility 10 miles. 1000 overcast.
Spirit Wings 929, ready for departure, runway 28 right.
Spirit Wings 929er, this is O'Hare Tower on 119.62, please repeat your request.
Spirit Wings 929, ready to depart. Oh.
Spirit Wings 929er contact clearance delivery on
No, I don't want to contact
119.25.
clearance.
Good day.
Do I have to restart the whole
Clearance
thing?
delivery on 119.25 Spirit Wings 929er.
Oh, right. So now do we get clear? No. Do you know what? We're going to just fly without ATC today. Make a nice change. I don't know what went wrong. They just stopped listening to me. Okay. I'm going to read all of your messages and chat to you properly once we're in the air. But for now, we'll get our lights set up. We'll finish our before takeoff checklist, and we'll get in the air.
Below the line.
Cabin crew, be seated for takeoff. Takeoff runway.
Confirmed.
Confirmed. Cabin crew.
Advised.
Engine mode selector.
Normal.
Pax.
On.
Before takeoff checklist complete.
I might try and restart Pilot to ATC mid-flight when there's not a lot else going on and see if we can pick up where we left off. This seems a very good time to ask you all, if you haven't already, to please subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more of this sort of thing. I'd welcome your comments on the video, those of you who are watching afterwards. And any requests for flights you'd like to see, I'll certainly consider them. That's interesting. I set the auto brake before. Maybe the first officer pressed the button again.
Ready.
Ready.
Take off.
Okay, so advance the throttles to roughly 50%. Once the engines are stable, up to flex.
Man flex, SRS, runway, auto thrust blue.
Check. Thrust set.
Oh, thank you, Marco. Thank you for the subscription.
100 knots.
Check.
V1. Rotate. Positive climb.
Gear up.
Now, because we're not following
Gear
a
up.
standard instrument departure, we should be following ATC radar vectors for now. But because we don't have ATC, we can't do that. So we're going to climb on runway heading, and then we'll manually vector ourselves round to pick up our route shortly. Thank you, Mossy. I thought it was alright. This is a known bug. You may remember from the last flight, those of you who watched it, that the aircraft actually stalled because it was commanding a really high pitch-up attitude. I don't know why it did it, but I'm not the only one who's experienced it. So from now on, I'm going to manually fly the aircraft until the flight director sorts itself out.
Flap 0.
Speed checked.
So we're going to make a turn
Flap
round
0.
to the left now. We'll continue climbing. Okay, so I seem to have lost control of the aircraft. It's pitching down now. And I'm trying to pull the nose up and nothing's happening. Nothing at all. Okay, let's try putting the autopilot in.
AP1.
Check.
Okay, now it'll climb. Good. This sim's brilliant, isn't it? It's brilliant. Paul, I subscribe, you can pay. That's very kind of you. Thanks for the subscription. I will, of course, send you a check. I can't vouch for it not getting lost in the post, but you know. Let's have a quick look outside. Look at that. I mean, this is why you fly Microsoft Flight Simulator rather than one of the sims that actually works properly, isn't it? It's this experience, these clouds, this lighting. It's really lovely. So we were cleared to 5,000 feet, but we don't have any ATC to worry about now, so let's just keep climbing. I will keep scrolling up and read your messages. I just want to get us in the climb proper first of all. Oh, you're doing the modular route, are you, Sergio? Right. Done your private license. Nice. But all right. Gosh, you've been seeing the world while you're doing this pilot training, haven't you? Yeah, I can see why you're doing it that way. Harry, you want me to do EGPH to EGLL? Where's EGPH? Mr. Schmidt or Ms. Schmidt, PNF 100 knots instead of 80. Yes, I believe that's standard Airbus operating procedures. I know in Boeing they call out 80 knots. I think that's the norm.
After takeoff, climb checklist.
Landing gear.
Up.
Flaps.
Retracted.
Packs.
On.
Down to the line.
So we'll continue the after takeoff climb checklist below the line once we pass the transition altitude of 18,000 feet. Edinburgh, right, okie dokie. Yes, I can certainly do Edinburgh to Heathrow. Why not? How long? Now this is something that bar at the top of the screen should be telling you, but it isn't, is it? It's not working. The estimated flight time is 2 hours 40 minutes. Yeah, FlyLive doesn't seem to want to actually read anything from the simulator at the moment, but nor does Navigraph. So I wonder if there's a problem with SimConnect, and that could possibly explain why Pilot to ATC stopped talking to me. Although they at least knew I was at the runway, didn't they? So they must be connected to the sim somehow. So I've restarted FlyLive now. Will it update that bar? I think it should. It's got our altitude, it's got our ground speed. I just have to input our departure and arrival again and our call sign, and that should work. And then you'll be able to keep track of our progress as we go along. Boy, NK929. There we are, that's fixed now. Okay, so we're above 10,000 feet, so we'll turn the landing lights off, along with the runway turn-off light and the nose light, which the co-pilot has done for me. And the autopilot seems to be behaving itself, so that's good. We'll leave the seatbelts on for now until we've passed through this cloud layer at least, but that's something else you would consider doing at 10,000 feet. It's icing up. What did we forget to do? As per usual, we forgot to put any anti-ice on. And in Microsoft Flight Simulator, it doesn't take much for these aircraft to ice up. Basically, you have to fly through a cloud. Any cloud, I think. The true air temperature's 11 above freezing, so I don't know, I'm not an expert, but I suspect that's not quite enough to cause ice, although the SAT is -8, so yeah, in the air I think you follow the SAT if that's below +10. Fair enough. Fair enough, the icing could be realistic. Well, that's some pretty serious airframe icing, isn't it? And this, I have to say, is what I envy commercial pilots. The ability every day, no matter what the weather's like on the ground, to get above the clouds and see blue skies and sun. That must be wonderful. Good for the soul. Right, so our planned cruising altitude is 35,000 feet, so let's keep climbing. And I think we can turn off the fasten seatbelt sign now. Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? That the sort of murky light on the ground, murky dawn light, yellowy and shrouded in cloud, and you take off and you see this. Okay, I was trying to turn down the brightness of the weather radar, and it's gone back to self-test mode. I don't think it should do that. So in the real aircraft, the outer knob and the inner knob do different things. I can't remember which way around it is, but one of them changes the brightness of your actual flight plan and the rest of the information on the navigation display. And the other knob changes the brightness of your weather radar, but I don't think that's modelled here. I think we only have one knob. Yeah. Oh no, it does work. I think, is it? No, it's only the outer knob that's working. What is my internet speed? It should be 100 megabits per second, Paul. And I do usually get that, or near enough. Right, now we're above the clouds, we should be able to turn off our anti-icing, but to be on the safe side, let's leave it on for a bit and see if that ice melts away. I don't suppose any of you have had a chance to try the new Rex add-on, have you, Weather Force? I'm a little bit in two minds about it. I'd like to give it a go. I like the idea of accurate airport-based weather based on the METARs, but I'm also a little bit worried about it spoiling the global weather simulation that's internal to Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I'd really ideally like to have the best of both worlds, but I don't think that exists yet. Okay, so we have passed our transition altitude of 18,000 feet, so we'll set standard and ask the first officer to do the same.
Set standard.
Standard. Cross-checked. Passing flight level 228. Now.
Check. Below the line.
Baro ref.
Standard set.
Standard set. After takeoff checklist complete.
Right, so we're done with our checklists now, until we're ready to start setting up for the approach. Yes, Mark, I've seen quite a few reviews, and it seems to me that the weather that Rex injects into the sim is accurate, which is great. But the flip side of that is that it can't inject it locally, so it can't. In previous sims, we had an add-on called Active Sky, and that was really good because it used metadata, but it injected it into the local regions. Whereas because of the limitations on the SDK in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I think Rex is injecting the same weather globally, and then when you move to a new area, it injects that weather globally, which means that things like the weather radar don't look quite right, and you can see exactly the same weather as far as the eye can see. So it swings and roundabouts. It definitely does fix airport weather, but you do lose some of the features that make Microsoft Flight Simulator good in the process. It's just about choosing what's most important to you, I think. I might just throw some money at it eventually and try it out. I just keep buying airport add-ons and various other things, and yeah, I want to buy it only when I'm pretty sure I'm going to be happy with it. this is interesting. It's saying TCAS is on standby. Ah, but I thought that was inoperable, but it isn't. So yeah, we'll set that to TARO. We should have done that before takeoff, really. But never mind. And we can turn the dome light off now. No. I switched the wrong switch on before. I meant to set the dome light to dim, which is, again, SOPs for the Airbus say that the dome light should be on dim for takeoff. And I believe that is because if you lose power for any reason, that is guaranteed to keep lighting up your cockpit. Right, shall we have a go at restarting pilot to ATC? Let's try it. I haven't read the manual. I don't know if you're supposed to be able to pick up a flight in the middle of it, or if you have to start at the gate and go through the whole process of requesting clearance. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but we may as well try. There is also a very rough and ready quick start guide to using Pilot to ATC with Microsoft Flight Simulator on my YouTube channel, if anyone is interested. The last flight I did, Seattle to Chicago, it worked perfectly. So I don't know what's changed this time. Hello, Rory. I don't know is the honest answer. I haven't got the latest version of the A320 yet. I'm still using... Well, the latest stable release I installed was 0.2.0, and then I upgraded to an unstable master version to fix the engine 1 bug after the sim update, but I haven't looked at the latest version yet. They're very communicative on their Discord server though, so I'm sure if you went and asked them there they would be able to tell you. I didn't save the flight plan in Pilot to ATC, so I'm going to have to import it again. Shouldn't take too long. Hello Max, welcome to the stream. How are you? It's a very icy aircraft. I think what I'm gradually learning is that in Microsoft Flight Simulator, if there's any cloud about at all, it's best to put your anti-ice on before takeoff. Ah, I've got the old cat in the cockpit this, you know, he's trying to walk on my keyboard. Hello, Morris.
Ladies and gentlemen, just a few moments will begin our meal service for the flight. Please refer to the menu given to you on boarding for the 2 meal choices and your beverage choices available. We request that you keep the aisles clear to assist the flight attendants to serve you efficiently and also for your own safety. Thank you.
Right, I've reloaded my flight plan into Pilot to ATC. So, just need to go back to the settings and input my call sign. And then we'll give it a go. Spirit Wings 90. Oh, it's already there. Excellent. Connect. Hello, Supertramp. Yes, it's we had a few bumps. They're thick clouds, but we haven't got any cumulonimbus or anything like that around. So so far, nothing too traumatic. But the weather at Orlando's looking a little bit sketchy, so we shall see. Don't worry about the weather radar, that should be only showing things at our altitude, I think, unless I've inadvertently tilted it. Yeah, it's not what I would expect to see. At this altitude it seems clear to the horizon in the direction we're headed. Right, file. For those of you who have just joined, I was using Pilot to ATC, but they stopped talking to me while I was holding short of the runway. So I'm just trying to start it up and see if we can talk to them. Right, so the nearest frequency is Chicago Center 135.75. Now what happens if I just input that? 135.75. Oh, it won't let me. For the cabin announcements I'm using Flight Crew A320 from Pilot to ATC. Okay, so I've tuned Chicago Center in Pilot to ATC. Let's try speaking to them. Spirit Wings 929 at flight level 350.
Spirit Wings 929, good morning. Squawk 4543 altimeter 2983.
Squawk 4543 altimeter 2983 Spirit Wings 929.
Did she say 4543? I think she did. Well, that seems to work, doesn't it? So we've contacted Chicago Center. They've acknowledged us. They've given us a squawk code.
Spirit Wings 929 radar contact.
Good. Well, we'll see if they keep talking to us for the rest of the flight. Right, let's check our arrival details. So yeah, we're using Piglet 6 arrival. I love the fact that a lot of the stars at Orlando have Disney character names. I didn't know that until I planned this flight. So there's a... Oh, what am I doing? Thought I had them up, I don't. So there's a Bugs arrival. There's a Goofy arrival. Minnie. And the others may be Disney characters, but they're not immediately recognisable. Yeah, it's quite cool. We were planning for a northerly runway arrival, but the weather seems to have changed, so I think we'll be probably landing on 36 right or 35 right, something like that. But wait until we're closer, check the weather, and then set up for the arrival. No, I haven't tried the self-loading cargo, Max. I haven't. It sounds interesting. It sounds tempting. My trouble is I just end up downloading add-on after add-on after add-on, and it all gets a bit much, and it gets in the way of the flying for me if I overdo it. So I spent about 45 minutes getting everything ready for this flight, planning it, inputting it into Navigraph, inputting it into the Pilot to ATC add-on, and I think trying to set up this blooming, what do you call it, Fly Live bar at the top of the stream. So yeah, I'm starting 45 minutes early and I still wasn't ready today. So I think that might just be one add-on too many at the moment. Okay, Marker, sorry to hear your internet's lagging. I hope you enjoy it later. Hello, Tony. Welcome. Hello from beautiful Greece. Oh, I love Greece. I wish I was there now. Could you please tell me how I can disable the objectives when I fly and generally the ATC when I start the flight? Yes. Yes, I think I can. So if you go into the menu and you go into Assistance, is it down here? Somewhere in here. So you can turn off your navigation aids. Is that what you mean by objectives? Or if it's not, then I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you. But all the markers used to come up here. So I turned them all off. And there's also somewhere an ATC option in here, I think. User experience, is it? Yes, so ATC voices. You can turn them off here. Or you can turn them off under general and sounds, I think. Is it sound? Which I think is what I did. Yeah, so I've got the ATC voices turned down to 0 here. Yeah, a Corfu airport would be great. I think we'll have one, Paul, because I had one in Prepared. I had one in FSX that I think, yeah, it was Fly Tampa that produced one, and it was brilliant. But I have to say, Corfu Airport, even in its default state in the sim, is still a pretty spectacular place to land. But yeah, I'm hoping that Fly Tampa bring all of their scenery products over to the new sim eventually. Whereabouts in Greece do you live, Tony? Do you know, in previous sims I was always really disappointed if there was heavy cloud because it meant you couldn't see the scenery below. But in this sim, the clouds are so beautiful that it doesn't hugely matter to me. My pleasure, Tony. I will certainly land at Rhodes in the future. I have flown in there in the past, in previous sims, I think. Yes, there was an FSDG scenery, which was pretty good. The closest I've come in Microsoft Flight Simulator is COS, and I did stream it, but I messed up the landing so badly that I deleted it as soon as I'd finished streaming. I'm not proud of that. I should be prepared to show my failures as well as my successes, but I just didn't want anyone to see it. But yeah, I'll certainly come to Rhodes as soon as there's an add-on scenery released, if not before. I'm going to have to start making a note of these. So you wanted Rhodes, someone else wanted Edinburgh to Heathrow. Oh, cat, get off the keyboard! Honestly, he's such an immersion killer, this cat. What's he done? Oh, he's put it into slew mode. Oh dear. Do you know, I actually have a picture of him because one of my early subscribers, who I haven't seen for a while, really wanted to see cat pics. I'll pop him up here. That's what I'm dealing with, standing on the keyboard mid-flight. This is Morris, and this is his sister Mildred. So they are lovely, but there are times when I'd like them to leave me alone, and this is one of them. Anyway, could have been worse. We're still in the air. Oh, I think it's time for a little bit of music, isn't it? Yeah, exactly, Paul. One of the many things you don't want to hear from the flight deck on a real world flight. Yeah, I can't wait for payware airliners to come out. PMDG were originally talking about releasing their 737 before the end of this year, but they said yesterday that it's proving a lot harder than they thought, and it probably won't be till towards the end of next year, Q3 or Q4, which was a real shame. And I don't know, but I haven't heard anything at all from FS Labs about their A320, which is what I used to fly in prepared. So I hope they're working on it. But I think it took them something like 6 or 7 years from when they first announced that for... Was it FSX? I think, yeah, it would have been FSX. To when it actually came out, so I don't think you can expect that in the near future either. But as I said earlier, this A320NX, this is the freeware mod that I'm using, has made a huge difference already, and they're still actively improving upon it, so I'm hopeful that we'll get close. We won't ever get probably to FS Labs quality, but I hope we'll get somewhere close in the relatively near future. Well, now we are nicely established in the cruise, I'm going to nip away from the computer for a little bit, grab something to eat and some water, but I'll leave you to enjoy the views, and I'll monitor the chat, so if you've got any questions or comments, I will get to them as soon as I return. See you shortly. Yes, I can answer that for you, Alex. Our top of descent is going to be in about 1 hour and 24 minutes. So I have just noticed I've missed quite a lot of messages in the chat. I've just been scrolling back and trying to catch up. I will answer them and hope that the people who asked them are still about. Max, am I going to fly in Japan when the update comes? Absolutely. I'm hoping, I don't know what time it'll come tomorrow, but I'm hoping to squeeze a stream in shortly after it updates tomorrow. Haven't decided where yet. Paul, yes, this is a real world flight. All the flights I do are our real world flights. So I look them up on Flight Radar, see where I fancy flying and which airlines fly between them, and base my streams on that. I think that's it. I thought I'd missed one. Any other questions I've missed, just ask. Hello Michael, welcome to the stream, nice to see you. How are things? Okay, so the image on the weather radar isn't looking great. I think we might try and climb higher. Does this aircraft give you a maximum? No, you see, the real A320 would have the optimal climb here and the optimal altitude and the recommended maximum altitude here, but we don't have that. But let's try asking for flight level 370 instead and see if Pilot to ATC wants to talk to us at the moment. Right, well, Spirit Wings 929. Spirit Wings 929, request altitude 37,000 feet. What I meant to say was flight level 340.
Spirit Wings 929, climb and maintain flight level 600.
No, that's
climb and maintain flight level 600.
We're not going that high. Let's try again. Spirit Wings 929, request flight level 370.
Spirit Wings 929, radar contact.
No. Spirit Wings 929, request flight level 370.
Spirit Wings 929, climb and maintain flight level 370.
Hooray.
Climb and maintain flight level 370, Spirit Wings 929.
It doesn't want to climb at the moment, or is it thinking about it? Just increasing thrust. Yeah, good. We're on our way up. So my understanding is that in the real world, if you encounter bad weather, you can either climb above it, descend below it, or ask for vectors around it. I don't think that Pilot to ATC allows you to do the latter. I'm not sure. This could be a good use of my time during the cruise to have a bit more of a look at the Pilot to ATC manual. Okay, so you can use the direct to panel if you want to go directly to a waypoint. This is again in Pilot to ATC. It's not quite what we're after though. Let's have a look at the grammar phrases, see if there's anything in there. So the documentation with Pilot to ATC is extensive and well written, but it's not, to me at least, immediately obvious where I would look for information about whether or not you can deviate around weather. I can't see anything in the grammar phrases PDF about deviating around weather. Oh well, never mind, it's not something we need to do particularly often. And we have successfully climbed above the turbulence that was straight ahead of us, so that's enough for now. I'm still not absolutely certain that Pilot 280C is fully working today. We haven't been handed off to another controller for a while. I think we should be in Indianapolis Centre's territory now. Okay, so there is a phrase to ask for a frequency change. Let's try it. Right. Say center frequency for Spirit Wings 929. I didn't like that. Say center frequency for Spirit Wings 929. Right, what else can we try? Yeah, well, I haven't tried the latest A320 mod Supertramp. No, I'm using not version 0.2.0, but one of the unstable versions that followed that, which fixed the engine 1 bug after the latest sim update. I will update it at some point. But because I was streaming today, I thought best not to mess around with it too much. Say frequency for Spirit Wings 929. We could, of course, just be out of range of Chicago Center now, so let's try tuning Indianapolis Center and see if they want to talk to us. Say frequency for Spirit Wings 929. No. Maybe we just need to check in with them. Center Spirit Wings 929 at flight level 370.
929er, good morning. Radar contact.
Okay, that seemed to work. Let's now see if we're on the right frequency. Center, say frequency for Spirit Wings 929. Okay, maybe that command just doesn't work on this channel. Thank you very much, Supertramp. Yes, Andrew, it's going to be spectacular in VR. I've never flown in VR because I've never quite had a powerful enough system, but this may well tempt me. Just realised I'm using the Pilot 280C push to talk when I want to talk to you as well. It's habit forming. No wonder they've given up talking to me. Broadcasting up utter rubbish. So it's a good job I'm not using IVAO or VATSIM, isn't it? That would be even more embarrassing. Well, if they don't continue to talk to us, it's not the end of the world. We'll fly with no ATC again, just as we did for departure. Very good, very good. hello walkthroughs, how are you? Welcome to the channel. We are currently cruising at 37,000 feet. As you're probably aware, we are en route between Chicago and Orlando. Oh right, HP Reverb G2, nice, nice. I say that as if I have any idea about VR equipment, which I don't, I'm afraid. But I'd be interested to hear how you get on. So have you already got the headset, Andrew, and you're just holding off on buying the sim for it, or is this all for the future? Spirit XD. Is that your name? Sorry, I'm a little bit confused by what you've typed there. Oh, okay, right. Good time of year to launch a VR headset before Christmas, and the weather's going to be grim, certainly in this hemisphere. So yeah, a large market, I'd imagine. Good time to get into flying as well. Although possibly not in real world weather if you're just starting off. Do I have restraints set in the flight plan? Yeah, I do, but it's never followed them, this aircraft. I don't know, perhaps that's something that's been updated in the latest A320 mod. But we should have, yeah, we've got our arrival restraints. Let's have a quick look at the star actually and check if they're anywhere close. They're not always. So the Piglet 6 arrival at Jasmine, the chart doesn't give us an altitude actually. So Mtata, the chart says we should expect flight level 250. Oh, all the waypoints are named after Disney things as well. It's amazing. So Hakuna, the MCDU says we should be at flight level 350. The chart says 290. And this is with the Navigraph beta data, so I don't know why it's so wrong. We can try changing it. I haven't tried that for a while because it's never worked. But let's give it a go. Maybe this is something that the mod has fixed. Ooh, that worked. Look at that, that's worked. You're right, you're a bit confused on when to start descent. Well, I always fly with ATC, so I tend to trust them. There isn't, in this version of the A320, a clear way to answer that question. So the real A320 and things like the FS Labs add-on for P3D allow you to input a star and it will give you the altitude constraints accurately that are on that star. And that's because the MCDUs on those payware aircraft are able to import real-world Navigraph AIRAC data. So the aeroplane will calculate a top of descent point for you, and like you said, if you have set an altitude that is lower than your current altitude, then it will automatically start descending for you. In this sim, none of that works, it's all broken. So really you have to guess, but I would say something like 120 nautical miles from your arrival airport is a good rule of thumb. And you can also do the maths. If you look at your rate of descent and you look at how far, how much altitude you've got to lose, then you can use that to calculate your top of descent point. Yeah, 120 nautical miles is a rough figure that I think will work. But I'm quite impressed that I was able to change the altitude constraints. I don't honestly believe the aircraft's going to fly them. These aren't constraints, these are flight levels to expect. So we may just ignore them when it comes to it. But let's put them in as per the arrival routing. and see how far we get. So Jasmine doesn't really have a constraint, but I believe, you see, I've been flying this aircraft for too long. I've forgotten what it's like in a proper simulation of one. I'm about to start talking rubbish, so I'm going to shut up. So we can expect 11,000 at Piglet. So the minus implies we should be at or below 11,000, but I don't think we can remove that. No, we can't. Should be able to press clear and click on the field and it should empty it. Yes, yeah, Supertray. I wouldn't be at all surprised if that happened. Do I have a yoke and gear equipment to fly it on here? I have a Thrustmaster T16000M joystick, which I use. I've never had rudder pedals just because I have quite a compact space in the corner of my living room, and I can barely move my feet further forward than the edge of the desk because my computer's underneath it. But this has served me well for quite a number of years. Oh yeah, how high did they get, Supertramp? Good grief, that's quite a long way into space, isn't it? Is the aircraft at all flyable at that altitude? Okay. That's probably prototypical, I imagine. Actually, no, it probably isn't, is it? Because of the lack of gravity. I don't know. I don't know much about space. I imagine it'd drop like a stone. Ah, the cloud's clearing up. Very nice. Does Navigraph want to show us where we are? No, it doesn't. Pilot 2ATC doesn't mind. So we just approached, just gone past Swap. So we're approaching Chattanooga, and then we'll be flying, excuse me, further south over Atlanta, down to Valdosta, and then we'll be starting our standard terminal arrival route around Jacksonville, just west of Jacksonville, flying over somewhere called Gainesville. Is the moon simulated? I suppose it is. You see the moon at night, don't you? Be interested to see if you can actually reach it. This is probably not something I'll live stream, but I wish the best of luck to whoever tries to fly to the moon. So yes, whoever is asking about Japan, I'm really looking forward to that add-on. It's quite incredible the amount of stuff that they are going to give us for free. And I was pleasantly surprised to learn that Gaia Simulation has been involved in creating the handcrafted airports for it. because I like their work a lot. Yeah. I tell you what, Supertramp, when I get to 1 million subscribers, I'll do that. I'll do a 143-hour live stream and fly to the moon and throw everything that I've tried to achieve with this channel, i.e. realistic flights, out the window. Because I think whatever I'd have to do to get to 1 million subscribers flying aircraft in Microsoft Flight Simulator would probably be an indication that I've lost my sanity anyway. Oh, it's nice, isn't it? It's nice down there. It's nice up here. You're on, Supertramp. I think 1 million subscribers, if they watch regularly, could potentially see me handing in my resignation from work and doing this full time. Hello again, welcome back. This erratic zooming is because I'm trying to scroll up the chat and it's affecting both the chat window and the simulator. Again, height. I'm at 37,000 feet. Is that what you mean? Good. I mean, I should have put some more stipulations on the 1 million subscribers thing, shouldn't I, really? 1 million subscribers that are not going to be deleted when YouTube has a purge of fake accounts. But to be fair, even if you create 1 million Gmail accounts, I'll probably still do it. Where the runway? The runway, well, we're flying to Orlando. So the runway is in Orlando. More music lined up than this. What happened to it? Play something else. So we're definitely not being handed off between controllers, are we? Pretty sure we would have had that by now. So early indications are, if Pilot 280C stops talking to you for some reason during the flight, you can't really pick up mid-flight and carry on as you were. But we'll still have a go at contacting the approach controller, I think. Yeah, I can't really blame them, to be honest, Supertramp. I'm not proficient enough to bother with. But the worrying thing is, there are other aircraft up here, piloted by proficient pilots, who are in danger because they've given up on me. Very unprofessional, that's my take on it. Alex, I won't be doing that, I'm afraid. It's contrary to everything I believe in, which is basically not crashing the plane. That's my golden rule. Is Orlando, 515 nautical miles. So we've got about 45 minutes till our top of descent, and about an hour and 10 minutes until landing. So this blue bar at the top of the stream gives you an indication of how far through the flight we are, but I would like to find a way of putting the actual distance to go. Okay, no worries, Supertramp. Nice to see you, and yeah, see you in a little bit.
Can you bring us some water, please?
Okay, I'll bring the drinks up in a minute.
Hi guys, here are the drinks.
Thank you.
So I'm just going to compare our fuel on board, which is 7,040 kilograms, with what we should have in our flight plan. In the real world, of course, this is something that you would monitor throughout the flight, but I just like to keep an eye on it here and there to make sure we don't run out. So at US, which is our next waypoint, YUESS, we should have 5.6 tons of fuel on board. So we're doing very well for fuel. That's good. The fuel flow simulation in this aircraft is an anathema to me. It's just sometimes it seems to burn much more fuel than you're expecting, and sometimes much less. But I prefer it when it burns less. Right, I'm going to nip off and stretch my legs before we set up for the approach and start our descent. Be back very shortly. Right, I'm back, and I've just been Googling how you resume a flight with Pilot to ATC mid-flight. For those of you who weren't here for our departure, they stopped talking to me as I was ready to depart the runway, and I found some instructions. Load and file the exact same flight plan. Actually, I'm going to pause the music because I can't concentrate on two things at once. Fade it out. Nice. Okay, see, very professional throughout. Load and file the exact same flight plan you had before the crash. Search for a nearby approach or departure frequency in the frequency window. Request a frequency change to centre. And then contact centre. Okay. So if I go to our Pilot to ATC frequency window, KTMA approach is fairly close. So let's try tuning them. And then I say Spirit Wings 929, request frequency change to center.
Spirit Wings 929er, contact Jacksonville Center on 125.75. Good day. Center on 125.75. Spirit Wings 929er.
Good, so that worked. And will my co-pilot contact them?
Center Spirit Wings 929er at flight level 370.
Spirit Wings 929er, good morning. Radar contact.
Good, well we seem to be back in business. We'll see if they hand us off to the next controller as they should. But anyway, ATC or no ATC, we are approaching our top of descent. We should be there in about 12 minutes. So I'm going to hand control to my co-pilot and start setting up for the approach.
You have control.
I have control.
So we're expecting a runway 28 right. No, we're not. That was our departure. We're expecting a runway 18 right, ILS arrival with radar vectors. So if we go to our flight plan down here, go to the destination and arrival. We've already got our Piglet 6 star in here. Does the transition match? No, we wanted the OTK transition because OTK should be on our flight plan. Let's just double check that. I'll go back to flight plan. Oh, yes, it is. Where are we? So we're approaching OTK. So right, let's change that. Arrival. Transition. Maybe we can't. Should be able to. Destination, arrival, star, Piglet 6. No, we can't change OCF. Never mind. We'll just set up the approach. And as I said, we were after 18 right, but the ILS. Oh, okay. Now we can put our star in. Except interestingly, it doesn't have Piglet 6 there. I wonder if that's because it's not a valid arrival for this particular approach. Let me have a quick look at the chart on Navigraph. See, the star chart talks about landing north and landing south, so I would have assumed this was valid for any arrival. There don't seem to be any charts for the initial approach from. Because basically what happened was during the planning stages, I planned for a arrival onto one of the 3-6 runways because that was the prevailing wind. In fact, there was very little wind, but that was what was recommended, so I stuck with it. Whereas now, if I'm not mistaken, the wind's changed because Pilot to ATC is recommending 18. Yeah, so now the wind is 190 at 8 knots, so we definitely want a one of the runway 18s. What if we leave it as it is, change the transition to OTK? No, it didn't like that at all, did it? Let's erase it all. Go back, arrival, approach, ILS 18 right. So I've got the Navigraph beta data installed, and I don't know whether it's that's at fault, whether it's the aircraft that's at fault, whether it's the sim that's at fault. This is the trouble with having too many different add-ons installed. So we'll just do our best. We'll leave that as it is, and we will insert it. And we'll just hope it hasn't done anything too crazy. It doesn't seem to have. Let's go back. So we've still got the Piglet 6, 18 right via Holop, which is the initial approach fix. Hello Hunter, welcome to the stream. You joined me just setting up for our arrival into Orlando. So yeah, so as I was saying, we've got Piglet 6 star via the Holop, and then, sorry, ILS 18 right via Holop. And we can't change the transition to the one we want, but never mind. Really, we want to start at OTK. Seems alright though. So that's that bit done. Next we need to go into Perth, and from there we can set up our approach phase. So again, going back to the meta, which won't exactly match the in-sim weather, but hopefully will be close-ish. The QNH, or the altimeter setting, should be 29.93. So we'll put that in. Oh yes, we can't do it in inches of mercury, can we? 29.93 inches of mercury in hectopascals is 1014. Could have probably guessed that, to be honest. 1014. And the temperature in Orlando at the moment is 29 degrees. And the wind, as I said earlier, is 1908 knots. Wrong field. Transition altitude will be 18,000. 190 at 8. And looking at the approach plate now, the minimum decision altitude is going to be 294, which is 200 feet above ground level. And the V approach is crazy fast as always. We'll see if it comes down. If not, we can always use always intervene on the speed on approach. What else do I need to do? I need to set the auto brake dependent on the length of the runway. Let me just bring up my taxi chart. Unsurprisingly, it's a really long runway and we want to exit halfway down it, so I think low auto brake should be sufficient. And I will also arm my my ground spoilers, although I may need the speed brake to descend with. That should hopefully stop me forgetting it later on. Okay, so we're done with that. We'll take back control from the co-pilot.
I have control.
You have control.
Hunter, no, I don't calculate the top of descent myself generally. I'm used to flying an A320 simulation that does it for you, dependent on your arrival routing, an ATC that tells you when to start your descent. So we had some I'm using Pilot to ATC for this flight. We had some trouble with it earlier on. I closed it, restarted it, manually tuned the center controller that was nearest to me, and they spoke to me but they didn't hand me on to the next controller. I've since done some Googling and I've instead contacted an approach controller who's handed me over to center, and I'm hopeful that we will be given our top of be cleared for a descent at the right point by ATC. So a very long-winded way of saying no, I don't. But I am relying on an add-on that I'm not overly familiar with. The latest iterations of the A320NX mod do seem to show top of descent markers on the navigation display. Not always, but sometimes. And they don't necessarily bear much relation to reality. See, I would have expected that we would have been given some descent clearance by now, because the approach chart says that we should expect to pass Hakuna at flight level 290. But we're not in a desperate hurry to descend. I don't think we really need to worry about it. Worry about not being cleared for it for another 30-40 miles or so. If we haven't been given any clearance by Matata, then I will just start the descent and ignore ATC. As a rule of thumb, Hunter, if you are wanting to calculate the descent yourself without doing the maths, I would say 120 nautical miles out shouldn't be too far off the mark for most airline flights. As a sort of latest point, you could start earlier if you wanted. So Jacksonville Stentor is still our nearest ATC station, and that's what we're tuned to. So I'm hopeful that Pilot to ATC is working now. What do you normally fly, Hunter? Do you fly airliners or light planes mostly? I'm just checking the ILS frequency here. With add-on airports it doesn't seem to get auto-tuned and you have to manually input the frequency, but because this is a default Asobo handcrafted airport, it has been input for us. Oh, you fly light planes in real life? Cool. Yeah, obviously if you're flying VFR then you do need to calculate your top of descent point yourself. So Pilot to ATC is recommending, well, suggesting that our top of descent is 3 nautical miles away, so we'll see if the air traffic controller gives us clearance then, which is actually 180 odd nautical miles from our arrival airport. No, they're not telling us to descend. I wonder if we can ask them for a descent. Spirit Wings 929, a request descent. Spirit Wings 929, a request descent to altitude 17,000 feet. No, they're not talking to us at all. So we will give up on ATC for this flight and manually start our descent now.
Spirit Wings 929er descend and maintain 7,000 feet altimeter 299er 2.
Oh, okay.
Descend and maintain 7,000 feet altimeter 29er
They've
9er 2
perked up.
Spirit Wings 9er 29er.
Oh, no problem, Mossy. Welcome back. Welcome back. I was just wittering on about Pilot to ATC not giving us a descent clearance when it should, and they've just given us one. All the way down to 7,000 feet, so that's interesting. They just woke up! Are they okay? What did they need your help with? Oh, ATC. That makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I assumed you meant your parents. I don't know why. That was not the obvious conclusion to come to. Yeah, top tip I learned from Googling while you were away, Mossy, is that if you need to restart Pilot to ATC mid-flight, you should tune a nearby approach or departure frequency and request a frequency change. Then they will transfer you to a center controller and you should be back in business. Yeah, that's fair. It was you who started using Pilot to ATC, wasn't it, Mossy? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was you. How are you getting on with it? That's interesting. So I think we've got a little bit of a glitch in our flight plan. When I was programming in the arrival, it wouldn't let me choose OCF as our transition point. Or rather, sorry, it wouldn't let me choose OTK as our transition point, which we've already passed. That might have been why. So it's taking us to OCF, but really we want to go to Jasmine and then on. So I'm going to try and edit it. It tends to go very wrong. Not Jasmine, OCF, and then Jafar. Is that right? We want to go straight from. Oh, there's someone at the door. Bear with me.
Cabin crew, prepare for arrival.
Oh dear, I can do real life or I can do streaming. I cannot do both at once. That was that was my downstairs neighbour wanting to ask me something. Anyway, I'm back. We haven't crashed, I see, that's good. We are descending. What was I doing? Okay, what we should do is put the seatbelt sign on. And we should tune to the... not tune, set the altimeter to local pressure.
2990 set.
2990 set. Passing 12,600.
He is still descending.
Now
He is.
check.
Skydive, not quite. The autopilot for once did a very good job. So, right, yeah, I was going to try and... I think it's probably a bit too late. I was going to try and delete OCF from our flight plan, because that shouldn't be in there. Is that going to mess everything up? Doesn't look like it. Oh, yes it is. Yes it is. It's going to start taking us back to God knows where. Oh, come on. Just want to go to Jasmine, that's all I want. Can you do that? Can you do that? Now, can any of you tell me, have I missed any ATC instructions while I was gone? It seems to be alright. I jumped the gun and assumed it was going to send us back to the start of our star or something like that. Okay. We're about to pass 10,000 feet, so we'll turn the landing lights on.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be arriving at our destination shortly. If you are making a connection to another flight, please see the customer service agent meeting this flight or video monitors inside the terminal for connecting gate information. For your continued safety, flight attendants will now walk through the cabin.
Cool, thank you, Lorenzo.
We'll be collecting all service items, newspapers, and any
I've never
other
heard of
items
RFS. What is
may
it?
not be taking off the aircraft with you. Also, in preparation for landing, please turn off all electronic devices, stow these devices, and then all other carry-on
Gosh, how
items.
can you donate? That's a very generous thing to ask, Lorenzo. The short answer is you can't at the moment, but that's certainly something I'll look into.
Security of your seatbelts. We will be landing shortly. Thank you.
Actually, I tell you what, you could, if you wanted, you could use PayPal and send it to filberttrains@gmail.com. But there's certainly... Well, it'd be lovely. It's certainly not expected, though. Would you, Mossy? Well, in that case, I'll try and set something up before my next stream. That would be awesome. So from the start, it looks like that we should expect to be about 8,000 feet between Jafar and Piglet. So we're slightly below that, following ATC instructions, which is fine. Oh right, I'll check it out. RFS. Good tip. I've tried the mobile version of X-Plane. Quite enjoyed that. But yeah, I'll have a look. I mean, that does sound awesome for a mobile game. That's really cool. Doing here? Ooh, that's cool, isn't it? I wonder what city that is. I guess this is the outskirts of Orlando. About to pass over Lake Harris. Can I consider a nighttime flight next? Absolutely, absolutely, Lorenzo. Yeah. Someone was requesting Edinburgh to Heathrow earlier on, and I might do that on Wednesday, and there's no reason why that couldn't be at night. So I sort of have to make a decision about whether I'm going to trust ATC to guide me into the ILS, or whether I'm going to ignore them. And I think that depends on whether or not they give me a descent clearance fairly soon. So we want to be at 5,000 feet by Hollop. So if we manage that, then I'll let them guide us in. And if I don't, then I will just ignore them and start the approach by myself. So the aircraft has slowed us down to our, well, slightly below our flap extension speed, because in the A320 it automatically reaches a point and activates the approach phase. So that's what's happened here. Hi Anton. I know very little about Spirit Airlines, to be honest. Are they a bit rubbish? I know they're a low-cost carrier, but beyond that, I don't really know anything about them. Are they like our Ryanair, perhaps? I tell you what we should be doing is our approach checklist.
Approach checklist.
Briefing.
Confirmed.
ECAM status.
Checked.
Baro ref.
2990 set.
2990 set. Minimum. Engine mode selector.
Okay, yeah, I can picture the scene.
Normal.
Approach checklist complete.
Cool. So we want to be at 5,000 by Holop. I wonder if we can request that, then I'll be able to relax a little more. Request altitude change. Spirit Wings 929, request altitude change to 5,000 feet.
Spirit Wings 929er, climb and maintain flight level 600.
Climb and maintain flight level 600.
No, that's
Spirit Wings
not what I asked.
929er.
That is not what I asked. Spirit Wings 929, request descent to 5,000 feet. No, it's not picking up what I'm saying. Just once more. Spirit Wings 929, request descent to 5,000 feet. It's thinking about it.
Spirit Wings 929er, descent and maintain 5,000 feet, altimeter 299er2.
Hooray!
Descend and maintain 5,000 feet, altimeter 299er2. Spirit Wings 929er.
So when they give me an altimeter setting, I'm just pressing the B key because the real world pressure doesn't quite match what's going on in the sim world, and obviously it's important that we have a that we have our altimeter set right as per the sim weather. Right, while I've been trying to fly the plane, I've also been looking at my PayPal settings, and I have got my Philbert Flies email address on there. So if you want to donate, and that would be absolutely lovely, thank you. This is my email address, philbertflies@gmail.com. Nighttime and rain. Do you know, I haven't done much of that. I always fly with real world weather, but I don't often fly at night. So I tell you what, we will do Edinburgh to Heathrow on Wednesday at night, and it might be raining. I think I'll probably still use real weather, so we shall see. Now I would expect us to be picking up the localizer by now, I think, and we're not for some reason. Only about 30 nautical miles away. Maybe not. Maybe we are a bit far off still. So, between Holop and Naval, we should be at 5,000 feet. And then down to 4,000 by Honour, 3,000 by Hammy, 2,200 by Tough. So hopefully ATC will give us clearances that vaguely match that, but if they don't, that's definitely time to start ignoring them. Are you by chance local to Orlando, Anton? Just wondered if you could give us some points of interest that we might be flying over. Mind you, I say that I probably couldn't do that for most of London. So. Right, okay. Oh, I'm sorry to hear it. I really miss the days when you could trust more or less any airline to at least fly vaguely on time and get you there in some sort of comfort. But yeah, certainly low-cost flying has gone right downhill, isn't it? Mind you, having said that, I've got nothing against EasyJet. I've always had a good experience with them. But they are more expensive than Ryanair, so I suppose there's an element of getting what you pay for. I was reading about an airport in Alaska that's recently been released for Microsoft Flight Simulator on Avsim yesterday. And there was someone there who had known the bloke who drove the ferry from the airport to the mainland. And he just posted a little bit about his friend and what it was like there. And it was so interesting. It would be really nice on these streams to get someone local to wherever we're flying to for a little bit of local flavour. It just makes it that bit more interesting, doesn't it? Okay, let's get our flaps 1 down.
Flaps 1.
Speed checked.
Because we are
Flaps
sort
1.
of intercepting the localizer, even though we are either out of range or it's not working. Thanks, Lorenzo. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. JFK to ORD is a flight I'd like to do at some point. Classic route. Let me just have another look at the METAR. What are the cloud ceilings supposed to be, or the cloud bases? Scattered clouds, 1,900 feet. Okay, so yeah, worst case scenario. Ah, there's the ILS. Brilliant. Turn localizer mode on to intercept that. Hopefully the glide slope will come alive fairly soon. Oh, it has. And we are above it. Going to descend to 4,000 feet. We shouldn't be intercepting the glide slope yet anyway, according to the chart. Not until we get to tough, at 2,200 feet. So there's a sort of stepped descent thing going on. But I don't think ATC are going to give us any instructions, so we will input the altitudes manually.
Spirit Wings 929er contact tower on 118.45. Have a good morning.
Tower on 118.45 Spirit Wings 929er.
So there are definitely some steps missing there from the old ATC, but at least we've
Tower Spirit Wings 929er at 4,100 feet.
Spirit Wings 929er, good morning. Squawk 1200.
let's go down to 2,000. Why would I squawk 1200? Oh, you think I'm flying VFR, don't you?
Flaps 2.
Speed checked. Flaps 2.
Gear down.
So I've actually misread this. We should be lower than we are. So
Gear
I'm going to
down.
extend a little bit of speed brake to get us down to 2,000 feet and possibly below to intercept the localizer. We'll activate approach mode.
Checked.
just take it all the way down now. Ah, go around, Mossy. Yeah, I've never had one myself, but yeah, I can imagine that was pretty scary.
Flaps 3.
Check the speed.
Oh, not this check the speed again. Okay, do you know what? The autopilot is so not doing what I want it to that I'm going to disengage it. I'm going to use manual throttle, and I'm going to land this thing myself.
Flaps 3.
Speed checked. Flaps 3.
1,000.
Checked. Flaps full.
Speed checked.
Flaps full.
Cabin crew be seated for
Slightly low,
landing.
Lorenzo, but if you look at this diamond here, it's only a little bit above us. Talking of go-arounds, Mossy, we might be about to do one ourselves. See, now I'm a little on the high side, but I've got the runway in sight.
Landing checklist.
Cabin crew.
Advised.
Auto thrust.
Speed.
Auto brake.
Low.
ECAM memo.
Landing. No blue.
Landing checklist complete.
I didn't arm the spoilers.
500. 400.
Yeah, this isn't a great approach at all.
300. 200. 100. 650. 40. 30. 20. Retard.
Blimey. Sorry about that, folks. That was my worst landing since Kos. But you know, I'm not going to delete it. Oh, a bit of rain. Right, 60 knots.
Continue.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the conclusion of our flight. Please remain seated with your seatbelt.
Ouch indeed. Ouch indeed. Lorenzo's rethinking his donation. Mossy probably is as well. And what should we have done? We should have gone around. Absolutely should have gone around. The trouble is I want my tea. And I've got to cook it before I eat it. Well, welcome to Orlando, everyone. Yeah. Still smoother than Ryanair. Right.
After landing checklist.
Flaps.
Start the APU.
Retracted.
Spoilers.
Disarmed.
APU.
Start.
Radar.
Put the weather radar off. Christ, I'm definitely not flying with Spirit then, Anton. They are firmly on my no-fly list. Right. One of the things I look for in an airline is that they fly better than I do. What's going on with... Right, okay. Did I even attempt to flare? Yes, I did. I realised my descent rate was way too high when I was at about 200 feet. So I actually began my flare at around about 200 feet. And it wasn't enough. Okay, where are we going? Going to the gate, aren't we? So we're going to cross this other runway, and we are looking for... Plus my blooming phone keeps distracting me with that annoying frog noise. Which gate? 34. Which is part of the Airside 1 complex. Yeah, I would consider doing a shared cockpit flight at some point. I would, absolutely. I hear there is an add-on that is working on just that.
Off.
Predictive wind shear system.
Off.
After landing checklist complete.
I didn't think you could, Harry. I didn't think you could do shared cockpit, but I've read somewhere, I'm pretty sure, that there's an add-on that's in quite early stages of development which does let you do it, in a way. My cat has been very present earlier on in the flight. He jumped on the keyboard and put the aircraft into slew mode by stepping on Y, which wasn't very helpful. But since then, he was just on my lap for the landing, but nice and quiet. And now he's just got down and he's wanting his tea. So part of the reason that I hurried that landing and didn't go around was not only that I'm peckish, but he's he is as well. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, Flightzilla, I'm pretty sure that I have at some point, quite recently, read about a partially working shared cockpit add-on, but I might be wrong. So we want the second gate on this this bit here. I thought it was supposed to be sunny and hot all the time in Florida. This is disappointing weather. So what we'll do is we'll park up. I'll give you a quick look around the airport in the drone, which will hopefully compensate you for the balked landing attempt. This is the first time I've been here, actually. It looks pretty good so far. I have a PC that was built about 3 years ago for me by Wired to Fire. It's got an i7-8700K processor, 32 gigs of RAM, and a 1080 Ti card. Yeah, alright, Mossy, you're on. You're on. I'll try and dig out this this add-on that I keep talking about so confidently, and see if it make sure it does exist, and then yeah, we'll give it a go. Right, here we are. So we've got our APU on, put the APU bleed on, and switch off the engines. And now we will do our parking checklist. See, this is also, I mean, I'll stop with the list of excuses soon, but I haven't flown for a week, and I always tend to make stupid mistakes.
Parking checklist.
APU bleed.
When I haven't flown for a while.
On.
Engines.
Off.
Seatbelts.
Off.
Exterior lights.
Let me check the exterior lights. I'm not convinced I turned them all off. No, I didn't. Leave nav and logo on.
Set.
Fuel pumps.
Off.
Parking brake and shocks.
Fuel pumps are not off. Give me a chance.
On and in.
Parking checklist complete. Consider heavy rain.
Thank you for the warning about the heavy rain. So here we are. Welcome once again to Orlando Airport. We are parked at gate 5 here, which we'll pretend is exactly the one I said we wanted to park at. And we'll have a little look around. So you've got sort of 4 piers extending off the main terminal area. Yeah, I wouldn't blame the passengers for wanting a refund, to be honest with you. So yeah, so we got 4 bits like the one we just parked at, connected to this main terminal and apparently connected by these rapid transit train things. And Asobo have done a pretty good job, I'd say, from what I've seen so far. 3D cars on the car park roofs. I always like to go and have a look at the main entrance, but because it's this central bit with all the piers coming out from it, it's tricky to sort of identify a main entrance. Anyway, we'll go and have a look at one more of the piers. I think this is going to be what they call airside 2. I'm not sure. Oh no, we're just leaving the airport now, aren't we? That's what I was looking for. So yes, all much for muchness. They're all very similar. But there we are. That's Orlando, and that was our flight NK929. Thank you very much for joining me. I will be back, hopefully with a flight in Japan tomorrow if they release the add-on scenery. So do please subscribe and click the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this in spite of the landing. I won't beg too much for that. And yeah, I hope to see you again soon on Filbert Flies. Thanks for your time. Enjoy the rest of your days. Take care. Bye bye.